Hello, this is Ben Johnston with RPM Mortgage in Roseville.
And John Campos with Remax Gold.
So we're doing a follow-up video to our last video, and this video is about escrow.
Right.
This mysterious word.
What does that mean? What is an escrow process, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk to you guys just a little bit about what escrow is. To begin with, escrow is a neutral third party. So it's not the buyers, it's not the sellers, and it's not the agents. It's its own company and entity. And all they're doing is following the directions that we're giving them. So we're presenting them with what's called a residential purchase agreement, which are actually escrow instructions, and they're going to make sure all those rules are followed. So step one, the first step before anything else can be done is that the buyer needs to give a deposit to the escrow company to initiate the contract. It's called consideration. So once we've given the title company the deposit, now we're ready to go. We're starting the escrow process officially.
Yep.
So in that first week, there's gonna be a lot that's going on, and it's probably packed with stuff from the lender side, right?
Yeah. So it's like once you get that offer accepted, deposit, it's go time, right? We talked about it a little bit in our last video, but the escrow process can take anywhere from about 15 days to 30 days. I think typically we're seeing about 20-25 days. I think that's pretty accurate. But once we get that executed contract, John and his team will send that over to me and my team, and we order your appraisal right away. First day. That's the first thing. We want to make sure that the house is worth what you're buying it for.
Right.
So speed is very important during this process. After the appraisal's ordered, chances are you might have gotten a new pay stub or a new bank statement came out since we did your pre-approval. So I'll ask you for those things too. During this time, if I'm asking for paperwork, if John needs a signature, if I need a signature, make sure to answer all your questions, but it's urgent that we get this stuff done in a timely manner because it does move quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Time is of the essence. It says so in the contract itself. So if, especially the lender, because the whole process is really contingent upon them being able to fund your loan, if they're asking for something, it's really crucial to get it back to them, with that day. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, same day, 24 hours is best.
Okay.
So we got the contract, deposits on its way to escrow within a couple days. I've ordered the appraisal, so we're on that. Just to give some context, the appraisal takes about 7 days to get back.
Okay.
They're moving pretty quick. So within that 7 days, we're getting your pay stubs, we're getting your updated bank statements, and we're also required by law to send you actual loan disclosures. Right. So we've looked at the numbers, we have an idea of what the payment's going to be, we're watching interest rates. The loan disclosures are the initial documents that talk more in depth about your loan, and those go to you within 3 days. You can sign those. We do ours electronically, so it's just through DocuSign. If there's any questions that we need to address, we'll handle it at that time. But disclosures is a big part.
Right.
There's also more disclosure.
So that first week especially is just chock full of disclosures. So on our side, which is not the loan side, if you're doing the actual real estate contract, the seller is going to give you all the disclosures, basically telling you everything that they know as a material fact about that property, so that you can make a decision based on their disclosures. Additionally, we're also going to be getting inspections, any and all inspections that make you as a buyer feel comfortable with the purchase of the home. Basically, what we're doing is weeding out all of the what ifs, all of those big, scary, dark corners that we're not quite sure about. We're going to inspect those as much as you're comfortable with and as much as you want to afford, so that when you get into the home, there are zero surprises. So that's what our 2 weeks looks like. And I know once we get past the initial disclosure, what does the remainder of your process look like?
So once you have your disclosures, I have the pay stubs, I have the bank statements. By this time, about a week in, we'll have the appraisal back.
Right.
So I take the pay stubs, the bank statements, the appraisal, and I send that back to the underwriter so that they can verify the value of the appraisal, check all the boxes, and approve your loan. Perfect. Finally. So once that happens, a closing disclosure goes out to you. Now, a closing disclosure tells you all the numbers as far as down payment and everything like that.
It's as accurate as possible. Like, we're talking maybe pennies off of what the actual amount they're going to bring in, right?
Yeah. Okay. So the things that can affect the closing disclosure are if we close 2 days before expected, that's going to change some small proration
or
numbers.
2 days after, right?
Or 2 days after. Yeah, but the closing disclosure is kind of the final decision on numbers,
Okay.
down payment, what you need to come in with.
That
everything
goes
like
to the
that.
title company as well, and they can start preparing documents.
Yeah, so we
Right?
send one copy to the client or the borrower, and then we send one copy to the title company.
Perfect.
That kind of signals them that, hey, you're gonna get the final loan documents pretty soon. So closing disclosure goes to you, the underwriter sends your loan to our closing department, and the closing department draws up the legal documents, the deed of trust, the note for your loan that's gonna be attached to the property, and they send those to the title company.
Ownership and loan paperwork, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So our documents really comes down to two things. A deed of trust that makes you the owner to the property,
Right.
and then the deed of trust references the note, which details the interest rate and how much you owe the bank.
Got it. Very
That's
cool.
what it comes down to.
So as you're coming to a close on our end, we're also going to be coming to a close. So all that discovery, the disclosures, the inspections, and everything, we're going to button that up so that one, either you're accepting the home as is condition, or two, you're going to negotiate so that you feel that you're getting a fair price and a fair everything. This may result in a credit, which ultimately could impact that final disclosure. So we're going to do it just a little bit before they can release their CD or their final closing disclosure.
Mhm.
We're going to make sure if we're doing any credits or any price reductions for our negotiations, we give it to them so they can finish the process.
So once we're satisfied with the property, the closing disclosure looks good, the loan documents have been sent to title, they usually need about a day or two to work their magic, and then we schedule a time to sign. So I do my best to try to be at all of my signings.
Same.
I know that you attend them as well. So it's important to me to be there to answer any questions at the last minute. There really shouldn't be any because the closing disclosures addressed all the numbers.
Right.
But that's the fun day. You know,
It
we
is.
sit down, we sign a bunch of papers, and then
Fun. I don't know where.
yeah.
Fun is a very loose term in the men's world.
So that wraps everything up, and then what's next?
That's it. So when you take that paperwork, I know they send it back to their department with the funding department, right?
Mhm.
The money comes, you wire in or bring in a check for the remainder of what you owe for your loan situation. On our end, we're going to do a final walkthrough and just make sure the home is substantially the same as when we started, which it should be, not burned down, not flooded, anything like that.
Right, make sure it's still there.
It's still there. And then ultimately, that's it. We lead to closing. We all agree on the exact closing date and time.
Yep.
It records in the county. And then you become the new owner of that property. And that for me is when the fun begins, really.
Yeah, that's true. I guess the paperwork's not as fun, but when you finally get the keys, that's
really
the goal.
We're talking barbecues and hanging out, inviting friends and decorating. That's fun, man.
Yeah.
Signing paperwork, let it be your guys' choice.
I'm a numbers guy. What can I say?
That's funny.
So that concludes the escrow process. Hope this was valuable. I appreciate taking the time to watch, and leave any questions in the comments below. And we look forward to helping you.
All right, guys. Cheers.
Bye-bye.